Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Monday, January 20th. Wow, it's a big day today. It's Martin Luther King Day. It's Inauguration Day. U.S. financial markets are closed. We're not. Well, I'm lying a little bit. I'm a little bit closed. I canceled all of my radio hits that I do every single Monday because when the market's closed, I like to take the day off. Plus, most of these organizations, news organizations, are carrying the inauguration and doing special coverage. So why fight with that? Meanwhile, we're here for you, and we're right in your feed as promised on the Monday through Friday schedule of 2025. And if you've got a financial question, something that's going on, you need a little help trying to figure something out, give us a holler. Go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button, write us a note. And if you'd like to join us on the air, check that box, and Mark will do everything else. That is what Arthur did. Arthur joins us from Anchorage, Alaska. Now, Arthur, I will tell you, you're not our first person from Alaska, but we have gotten a smattering, not a ton. So welcome, and I hope you represent your state well. Thanks for joining us.
Well, good morning.
What's going on?
Well, I had a question. My wife and I have been saving pretty diligently for, a couple decades now. And, retirement's on the horizon, maybe 6-7 years from now. I'm active duty military. And retirement won't be, full retirement. There'll be a little work probably here and there. Okay. But I wanted to make a little change in my savings and make a purchase. So we have a family farm that is currently owned by my dad and his siblings, and one sibling wants to move out of that. And I wanted to take some of the money that I have in our Roth savings. My understanding is you can take some of the principal and move that over to, our family farm. And then, just kind of what your thoughts about that would be, if that's...
Okay, so let's do a few bits of data collection. Arthur, how old are you?
44.
Okay, and you're married, you said?
Correct.
And do you have any kids?
One child.
How old is the kid?
3 years old.
How old's your wife?
43.
Okay. And is your wife also in the military?
No.
Working or not working?
Some part-time work that she can do from home.
Okay.
Yep. She's she'll probably go back to work once our son, more full-time work once our son goes to school.
Okay. And you have a 3-year-old. Is it one and done? Are you on the Mark Talercio plan, or are there going to be more kids, do you think?
One and done.
Okay. So in the military, how much do you earn right now?
Take home is about $195.
Wow. That's a lot. You must be a high-ranking superstar.
I don't know about superstar, but I
yes.
I'm up there in rank. That's
great.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, you're up there in rank. You're so young. In 7 years, you'll have a military pension benefit. What would that be? So if you're 50 years old, what does that benefit look like?
Yeah, I was playing with those numbers. Anywhere from on the bottom, $72,000 a year to $100,000 a year. So somewhere in there.
Great. Okay. And tell us about, in addition to that pension, what other retirement savings you've done?
For me, 401k of $702,000.
Wow. Okay.
Brokerage about $220,000.
Okay.
My Roth, I have $185,000.
Okay.
My wife's is $183,000.
Okay.
My wife, she was when she was employed, she would max out, and so her 401k is just under $600,000. So $500,000.
Oh my God, this is huge! These are just massive numbers. You're so young; it's just shocking, and I mean, it's delightful to hear it. But my gosh, this is amazing.
And then the IRA that she has with her kind of part-time work is at about $15,000.
And that's a Roth or a traditional?
That's traditional.
Okay.
Yeah.
15,000. Okay. All right. Let me just make sure I got everything. So the pension in 7 years at age 50-ish, somewhere between 72 and 100,000. Yep. Your 401k, 702. That 401k, you use a 401k, not the thrift savings plan?
I'm sorry. I meant thrift savings.
Okay. All right. Just making sure I knew that. Okay. So, and that's all traditional, right? Not a Roth?
That's all traditional so far. Yep.
Okay. TSP 702, brokerage 220. You have a Roth with 185. Your wife has a Roth with 183. Your wife has an old 401k with 600 and a traditional IRA at 15,000. So that's the investment side, right?
Correct.
Okay. Next. How about safe, boring, money in the bank kind of money?
Yeah, we could do better there. Probably. We have roughly 30,000 in bonds and money market.
Okay. Where do you live right now? Forgetting about the farm for 1 second. Where do you live? Are you living in a home that you own, or are you renting?
Home that we own.
And how much is the home worth?
300,000.
And is there a mortgage that's outstanding?
No.
No mortgage. Okay. And any other property besides that primary?
No.
Okay. And when you look at your spending right now, what do you think you need in terms of just your living expenses? Don't include saving for retirement, but
Right.
What does it cost for you guys to live your lives?
About 9,000. And I was working on that this morning. About 9,000. That includes, a few trips a year.
Okay. And would your 3-year-old, will that kid get the GI Bill education benefit, or do you have money saved for him or her?
No, you're correct. He'll get the GI benefit.
Okay. So that's good. And there's no plans for you to move out of your $300,000 paid for home, right?
Not in the near future, but eventually I can see that happening.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the family farm.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a farm in Alaska, or are we talking about some other place? I bet it's
This is a
someplace
different
else.
state, yeah.
Okay, I got you. So
Yeah.
right now, this farm is owned by your father and how many others? Who are the other how many people are owners of this?
3 total, my dad, my aunt, my uncle.
And one of them wants to get bought out, basically?
Correct.
What's the value of the family farm?
That's a tricky one, but we've figured it out roughly 2.1 to 2.4 million.
Oof. Sorry, that was not what I wanted to hear. Okay. Can you make it lower? No, I'm just kidding.
I know, exactly.
So what happens right now if you don't buy out your aunt or uncle?
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky question. They would potentially just have my dad and my aunt, maybe try to buy his share, or if it didn't work out, they would just put the whole thing on the market for someone else to try to buy. They want to try to keep it in the family, but you know how those things are. Sometimes, negotiating that doesn't work out.
Is the farm creating any income right now?
Yeah, it does. So roughly total, they get about 60,000 a year. So each shareholder gets roughly 20.
Okay, so it's 20 grand a year on an. Well, I'm spitballing this. So if it's 2.4 million, right? Then each share is worth 800 grand, which is spinning off 20 grand a year in income, right?
You've got it. Yep.
Okay. Now, that's not a fabulous return on this massive investment.
Yep.
It just isn't. So can you try to describe to me what's the downside of selling this out? I mean, you're not going to take this farm over. Do you have cousins who are working on it? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, we have the neighbors that were, family, friends for, 60 years now. They work it, and they're generational. So every, the older son is working it, and as well as his kids. And so they just continue to work the farm and pay us the rent. And that's the plan moving forward. And they don't want to buy it. So they like the agreement as it is now.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Sounds like a good plan for them. What do your parents think about this? Like, how do they feel about, in other words, I want to understand whether we have a shot at convincing everyone to sell or not.
My parents, they want to keep it as is. And then the ultimate goal is that, when they do pass, that it's inherited by myself, their share, and another sibling of mine.
Okay. And are they living there right now? Are they living nearby?
Oh, no, they live in a different part of the state. Yeah, this is just land that they own from when they inherited it. Yeah.
Okay. And do they have means?
My parents?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they're doing very well. This is just land they've kept.
Then why are you buying this?
Just as an investment.
Forget it. I'm out on this. I'll tell you why. This is a serious amount of money.
Yeah.
Like when you said a family farm, I was not thinking this is a $2.234 million asset.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in incredible financial shape. You don't spend a ton of money. You're going to have a nice big fat pension. When you're 50 years old, I'm sure you'll do something else. Your wife will be doing something. You're in really good shape. But if you are suggesting to me that what you're going to do is take your Roth assets and maybe some of your brokerage firm and then get a mortgage to, then pay out this $800,000, I think it's a terrible idea.
I guess the reason I was looking at it this way is not so much for the rent income per year, but the appreciation of the land, which when I've looked into that, it's actually exceptional. So like thinking 20 years, 30 years down the road, it's very possible this could, increase by 50 to 100% in value.
Yeah, but so would any investment.
True.
Looking down 20 or 30 years down the road, and
true.
one that's a lot more liquid.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? If you're saying, what do I think about this? I don't think this is a good idea. If you're saying, we're going to do it, how should I do it? That's a different question. So let me ask you this. Is this something that you absolutely are hell-bent on doing no matter what?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I don't think this is a good idea. I really don't. And I'll tell you the biggest reason why. You're in an incredible position right now. Okay. And there is a $2.4 million asset. Right now, you have just one sibling?
Correct.
All right. So just to be clear, right now, theoretically, you have a $400,000 position in this family farm, right? That's you're going to participate if this thing shoots up by 50 or 100%. You already have a chunk of your net worth in here. If your parents feel like it's really important for them to help out, your dad has a sibling who really is like, I need this money. That's a different question. And that's a question your father has to really think about relative to his financial well-being and his health. For you, I don't think this makes any sense at all. I think that when you're buying things on behalf of your own parents, it usually should be because like, hey, my parent can't afford this. You're telling me that your parents are in good shape, that you already have a de facto position in this piece of real estate. You have a position. You will have appreciation. And if we looked at your entire net worth, having a $400,000 position in one specific asset is like a big chunk for you. You already have it. So I don't think this is a great idea. And also, I think if you soak up all of this liquidity, because I don't know if you were thinking about I certainly don't think you're going to probably be able to do it with any sort of loan that's going to be reasonable for you, because you're not going to be able to get a mortgage on the farm property, right? At this point, because it would have to be a sign off on everybody. So you'd have to get you'd have to either blow out the two Roth accounts, the brokerage account, and then come up with some money. I don't know, borrow it maybe against your house or something. But interest rates are high, so I don't think that makes a lot of sense. And I hate the idea of you not having a ton of options when you're 50 years old.
Okay.
Does that mean do I feel bad? I feel slightly bad, but not really. I'm representing you, man. Arthur, you're my client right now. I don't have clients, but I'm worried more about you. And if you said to me, it's an emergency, I have to make this transaction because nobody is in good financial shape. Okay, that's one thing. That's not what you're telling me. And I don't think this makes sense for you.
Okay. All right.
Are you bummed?
No, just a little surprised, I guess, on that. But no, I'm not bummed. I'm just kind of thinking that over.
Think it over. What else can we do for you?
I think that's everything.
All right. Well, listen, you are in great shape. I just don't want to see you have anything that derails that.
Incredible shape.
Incredible shape.
As things stand right now. I mean, you guys are so young. You have more than $2 million saved. You're going to have a huge pension.
Yeah, and you got a $400,000 bet on the farm industry.
That's right.
Already.
Yeah.
Just don't forget that. I think sometimes it's like saying to me, someone who works at a big company, right? Like, oh, I work at a big tech company. It's doing great. And you've heard me say this, I think, on the air. If you've listened to the show, you've heard me say, I don't think you should have any more than like 5 or 10% of your total invested net worth in one asset, right? And, if we were to look at this asset, it would be, it's a chunk of money. It's more than 10%. I'm okay with it because, everything else is so good and you have the pension. I really don't think that it makes a ton of sense for you to plow through all this stuff that you have for the ability to put down even more money on a bet that already exists. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, I got nervous. I thought I was going to make someone mad who is not only active duty military, but also in Anchorage. And I don't know, like you probably wrestle bears for fun. And, this pain in the ass here in New York, you may not like what you hear. So I hope that this is not too discouraging and it makes sense. And if you talk it over with your folks and you want to maybe have some guidance on whether they should do it and you want to get your parents' information and then talk about whether they should be buying out the sibling, then that's a different matter. Get back in touch with us if that's the case, okay?
That really makes a lot of sense. I do appreciate it, Jill.
We are very grateful that you joined us. So if you are like Arthur and there is a family issue that is bubbling up and it's a financial one, we want to hear from you. This happens all the time. It happens sometimes under duress, but this is a good time to do it when it's not an emergency situation. Just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and let us know if you'd like to come on the air live with us. Don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter, which comes out every Friday, and you can check out our subscription service. It's called Jill on Money Live. For $45, you will have access to quarterly live webinars, bonus content, and the entire back catalog. So check that out. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Try to put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.